Good morning, Rabotai. Welcome to Breakfast in the Class. Breakfast in the Class and learning for this entire week is dedicated by the Daniel S. Loeb Torah Center silver donor Philippe Alush in loving memory and loving of his parents Yehuda ben Leoni and Haya Josette Bad Louise Chronam Nevracha. Also dedicated for the complete Fu'ah Shnema of Eliyahu Shlomo Zav Fortuné and the continued health for Chana Bat Simafega, and as well the entire year of Breakfast in the Class dedicated in loving memory of Nishmat Ruth Bat Adela Orfali, sponsored by her family. My friends, we want to start today by kind of giving a little bit of a shout out. Please only answer Amen if you're listening to this live. Baruch atah Adonai, l'melech haolam, she'ah kol yavaro. Amen. Fantastic. I want to give a shout out in starting this class to a group of people that has begun to listen to Breakfast in the Class since we met them. I don't know exactly how long ago it was now. My memory fails me. But when we did the wedding for the Cohen and Friedman family, the Friedmans came all the way from South Africa, and all of a sudden we wound up starting to have a group of people listening to the class in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, from that. So we have a South African contingent. So today's class is a shout out to Adam and Annette, and Adam to your whole family. And let me tell you why I'm shouting you out specifically today. There's an amazing, amazing South African term that you have to really be South African in order to understand. The term is very simple. The term goes, just now. I don't know if any of you is aware of the power of these words. Just now is capable of taking massive amounts of time and condense. It's like a physics made, it's a miracle in physics. If you tell someone, I'm coming just now, you know what you mean? I'll be there probably between 5 minutes and 5 years. That's what just now can mean, right? So it's this unbelievable, thing in science. We have to study the phenomenon known as the South African just now, how it's above time and it can expand, something which is literally just now into something which is so far away. And let me tell you why the name of the class is South African just now, because we find it in our parasha this week, exactly this concept. So I want to present the idea that Yakov Avinu was from Joburg or Cape Town. And let me explain. The Pasuk tells us that we have this unbelievable saga, this war between Yakov and Esav. Yakov prepares in 3 different ways we mentioned yesterday. He prepares for tefillah, for prayer. He prepares with doron, with the presents. And he prepares with milchama, preparation for war. But in the end, when they meet, Yaakov Avinu was already literally wrestled with his angel, okay? And Yaakov Avinu comes forward, and after trying either to bite him or to do whatever he's trying to do, Esav realizes this is not going anywhere. So Esav says to his brother something very interesting. He presents him with a new option, says Esav. Listen, you and I, brothers, we go way back. We played for the same team in Little League, and maybe why don't you come with me? Nis'a v'nelecha. Let's go and let's travel. Let's travel and let's go together. Elcha lenegdecha. And I'll go opposite you. Right? That's what Esav suggests to Yaakov. Now, we are very well aware of the idea that there are 2 ways that the nations of the world can harm the Jewish people. One way is with cruelty, when they try and destroy, kill, burn shuls, shoot people, whatever. Okay? We've had that throughout history. But the other way that the nations of the world, the Esavs of the world, can kill the Jewish people is actually with kindness. Welcome you in, you're the same as us, join us, marry our daughters, connect with our sons, go to our schools, Don't be so, don't be so Jewish. Maybe you could take the star, put it away a little bit. Everybody here has a tree. You're going to go and have a candelabra. I kind of feel like it's not a great idea. We have a tree. You have something which is, our tree is flammable. You have candles. Maybe it would be safer for everybody if you switch to an electric menorah. Yeah, and slowly but surely, as our best friend, Yani, what happens? The Jewish people wind up losing their identity. In either scenario, the Jewish people is destroyed. In one way, the people of the Jewish people is destroyed, and in the other, the Jewish of the Jewish people is destroyed. But in either scenario, the Jewish people is destroyed. Yaakov Avinu understands that this new Esav 2.0, who's coming to him and say, something, I have a great idea. Let's travel together. I have a great idea. Why don't we go to Aruba together? Let's do a Pesach trip. Us and you. Edom and the Jewish people be fantastic. Okay? Yaakov Avinu understands the danger. And what does he tell him? He tells him, Ya vorna Adoni. Yaakov says to Esav, listen, my master, why don't you go on up ahead? Right? Lifnei avdo, in front of your servant. V'ani itnahla le'iti. I'm going to go slow because I have kids. I have the sheep. If I push them too far, what's going to happen? They're all going to fall apart. I can't run your speed. You with your warriors, with your horses. Ya'ani. So you go, I'm coming. When is he coming? Just now. I'm coming just now. Anyway, Esav takes the suggestion. He moves on up ahead, and where's Yaakov? Nowhere. Yaakov says something actually curious. He says, don't worry, I'm coming. Until I get to that place. Don't worry, I'm coming, I'll be there. Chachamim say that's a future, that's a prophecy for the future. The time is a Mashiach, at the end of time, when Yaakov will finally arrive. Right, like we say, Ubao Ovdim, Beretz Ashur, right? All these, when Mashiach comes, then that will be the time that he's going to arrive to this place, right? Hasir Shpot HaEsav. Where he's going to come to judge the Har Esav, the mountain of Esav. Yaakov said, I'm going to come. When? When Mashiach comes. Okay? So his just now moves from 5 minutes literally to the end of time. Our Chachamim point out something that is remarkable about this. Not only that this is an example of I'll be ready in 5 minutes, that every husband has had to deal with, but for every husband that makes fun that when his wife gets ready and she says, I'll be ready in 5 minutes, it takes so long, she also complains, rightfully so, that he always says, the game will be over in 5 minutes. You understand? So, in the end, all the 5 minutes cancel each other out, and no one is really on time. But my friends, listen to this. What we're really understanding underneath all of this is something magnificent. In my life, in your life, we all face challenges. And there's nobody who doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. If somebody is telling you, listen, I don't know, I'm just like a good guy. I don't really find, I'm not really tempted ever to do something not right. Lashon hara lo medaber elai. I'm not really so attracted. I see women, they're half dressed. I doesn't catch my eye. I don't know. I don't notice these things. That's not. That's just how I am. I'm just naturally good at everything in every scenario. I have no Yetzer Hara. First of all, right there, that's your Yetzer Hara, that you're the biggest gay in the world. You're the most arrogant person, that you think you're perfect. That's number one. But of course, obviously, it's not true. Everybody's got a Yetzer Hara. Oftentimes, not only do we have Yetzer Hara, but we have consistent Yetzer Hara. What do I mean by that? Tell me if this statement resonates with you. 9 times out of 10, on Yom Kippur, you find yourself, just raise your hand if this is true, saying sorry for the same thing you said sorry for last year and the year before and the year before. Raise your hand. Are you in that camp? Yeah. Raise your hand if every year you try a new avera. Anyone here? No? Where are we going this year? I don't know. Let's do that. I have it scheduled. I'm a very orderly guy. Next year, murder. After that, Gilui Arayot. After that, I'm skipping, praying for completely. I'm going to take 1 year off shul. People don't do that. We're creatures of habit. And the same bad habits that we had last year, the habits that we struggle with next year. You know why that is? It's because we didn't learn this lesson. So basically what I'm saying is all of people's problems, they didn't listen to this breakfast in the class. No, I'm sketching. Listen, my friends. You know what we're learning from Yakov over here? We're learning that there's a million ways to fight a battle. Our rabbis tell us, Mikol melamdai iskalti. I learned from all of my teachers. But who's all of your teachers in life? Sorry? Yourself, your rabbi. You might listen to some teacher online. Maybe you had a very wise parent. That's who we think of as melamdai. But the ayatollahs are also melamdai. Experience. Did we not learn from Iran? Did we not learn from Hitler? Every person you come into contact with is potentially milamdai. He's not your rabbi, but he's someone who taught you something.
One way or another.
What did Iran teach us? Iran taught us that you don't have to fight a war to fight a war. Look at Iran. Oh my gosh, look, we only sent missiles one time. And then we only sent missiles like one. We attacked you. Listen, Israel, we attacked you like 2 times. And like, it was really only after you attacked someone on Iranian soil. Every missile that came from Hamas, every missile that came from Hezbollah came from Iran. Every missile that came from the Houthis, what do they have over there? Nothing. They're living in mud huts. Where are they getting ballistic missiles from? They're not making that in Yemen. Or in Eden. Just to make sure, I don't know, the Adani, the Yemenis, I don't like it so much. Where? It's all from Iran. You know what you learn from Iran? There's many ways to fight a war. Let me explain. Esav is a current, what we call, thank you Tom Clancy, a clear and present danger. But Yaakov Avinu says, I could fight him with praying. I could fight him with frontal war, milchama. I could fight him with doron, with appeasement, with giving him gifts. But now we're learning that there's another way to fight. What does Yaakov Avinu say? Yeah, I'm coming. I'll beat it. 5 minutes, max. Oh, I'm sorry, I got delayed. Just 5 more minutes. I'm coming. You know, I have the kids, they're slow, and I got the sheep now. This is Yaakov Avinu's telling Esav. My friends, Esav over here is a representation of the Yetzer Hara. The fight with the Sar, with the angel of Esav in Jewish teachings is resonant, is indicative of a fight that a person has with the Yetzer Hara. Sometimes the Yetzer Hara, my friends, you have to pray to beat him. We pray every day. Al tavieni lo lidei nisayon, lo lidei bizayon. Please Hashem, don't bring me any tests today. I don't need it. I'm not good. I'm not down for tests today. I don't have willpower. I can't. One way to defeat the Yetzer Hara is to pray. One way to defeat the Yetzer Hara, okay, to give him a present. What that means is very complicated. The Or HaHaim HaKadosh talks about this. The Seir Azazel is giving presents to Avodah Zarah, to the Yetzer Hara. We'll have to explain it maybe fully another time. Another way of dealing with Yetzer Hara, fighting him. I'm not eating not kosher anymore. Not doing it. Oh, it smells good. Not doing it. Sun's out, guns out. You're ready to fight the Yetzer Hara straight to his face. And you know what? You win. But what happens when you're not strong enough? What happens when you make the mistakes again and again? Says Yakov, there's another way to fight the Yetzer Hara. By telling him, I'm coming. Just not this second, like just now. In 2 minutes. I feel like I have to do a sin. Tell yourself, just not now. Let's just wait 5 minutes. Can I wait 5 minutes? They tell an unbelievable story with the father of Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Was Rav Yisrael Yaakov Kanievsky, the Stipler Gaon. He was drafted into the Russian army. Imagine, little tiny, scrawny guy. They draft him into the Russian army. It's freezing cold. Ice cold. Russian winter. Okay? The way it worked was if you had to stand on guard, so the guard would leave, they would have these very heavy coats. Because it's Russia, they didn't have enough. So the guards would take the coat and they would leave the coat there for the next guard, and when he would come, that's when he would put on the heavy coat and he would stay guard in the heavy guard coat. Okay. Well, one Shabbat, they give the Stipler, they give him guard duty. He goes outside and he sees that the coat is hung on the branch of a tree. He knows if he pulls it off, it might be a problem for Shabbat. You know, again, not going to get into why, but it might be an issue on Shabbat. Now the halakha is, just to be clear, if any of you is ever on guard duty for the Russian army in the middle of the winter, please do not take this story as halakha. Halakha is sakanat nefashot. You wake up in the morning, you're Lot's wife, okay? You're frozen into a pillar, of ice, not of salt. So sakanat nefashot. It's not the halakha. Anyway, what did the Stipler say? He said, I'm probably allowed to take it off. It's probably not an issue. I'm freezing cold. He said, but if it's sakanat nefashot, he said, I don't need it right now. I can manage for a few minutes. Anyone who thinks you can't be outside for a few minutes has never done cold plunge, right? You could do 2 minutes of cold plunge. You could do 3 minutes, you could. So he's waiting 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Anyway, 5 minutes. He says, you know something? I feel like I could go another 5 minutes. I went cold plunge recently. Anyway, the guy says, how long do you think you could go? I said, I don't know, I've never done it. I could think maybe I'll do first time, I'll go 1 minute. Huh? 30 seconds? Anyway, I lasted a minute. Anyway, the guy goes, you have any more in you? I said, I think I could do another minute. I think I do a minute and a half. You don't understand how cold this is. All of a sudden, you're very aware of how many toes you have. Individually, you're aware of each toe on your foot, as you think you might lose one of them. Like, you know what I mean? It's, you're wriggling your toes, right? Freezing. I got 30 seconds. Anyway, as I'm getting to the 1:30 mark, he says, go to. This little piggy went to the market. I went 2 minutes. He goes, okay, now dunk your head. I'm like, what are you talking about? Dunk my head. I dunk my head. If you asked me before I started if I could do any of it, I couldn't. If you asked me if I could have done a minute and a half, I couldn't. If you asked me if I could do 2 minutes, I couldn't. If you asked me I could put my head in, I couldn't. The next time I went 3 minutes. Understand this. So often, if you ask yourself in the beginning, I'm not going to do that, you won't be able to do it. You try to go to milchama, you're not winning. But if your milchama is stanna, in Arabic they would say, stanna shwaye. You know what that means? Stanna means wait. Stanna, shwaye, slowly. I'm going to get stanna shwaye. Despacito, he says. My friends, Al Chachamim tell us And here's the kicker, and please don't quote me on this, but I want you to just know in your pocket. I want you to know this. Have it in your pocket. You don't know it in your pocket. Have it in your pocket. Know it for yourself. Let's say you pushed it off 5 minutes, and then you did another 5 minutes, and then you failed. And then you traveled with Esav, with the Yetzer Hara. Of course, in Shamayim, you did Avon, there's something to pay. But the zechut of the 10 minutes that you didn't do it is enormous. And Borei Olam looks at that 10 minutes, and if you actually were not capable of saying no to that Yetzer Hara, because there's sometimes with the state that we're incapable of saying no to the Yetzer Hara. Can I give you an example? I know it sounds crazy, but do you think I could decide, let's say I don't go to shul at all. Okay? It's not like I have Kaddish. Let's say I don't go to shul at all. I decide, you know something? I'm going to start coming to shul. Shachri, Mincha, Arbi, every day, rest of my life. Never missing. What's going to happen? How long is it going to last? A week? 2 weeks? People can't switch like that. You didn't keep Shabbat. What am I going to do? I'm going to keep Shabbat with all of the Hidurim. I'm not going to use the Shabbat elevator. That Eruv, forget it, not for me. You understand? You can't do that. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu sometimes looks at and sometimes asks from us is not, I'm not coming. It's, I can't come yet. A few minutes. You're a person who has an anger issue. And you think to yourself, I can't believe it. I'm working, I lost my temper. I yelled at this person. Yeah, but you yelled at this person after 20 minutes of button pushing, whereas before it would take you 20 seconds. So you're thinking that in Shamayim, God's looking at this and saying, you're an anger monster, you're a rage monster, forget about it, you're terrible. But in Shamayim, God is looking at the angels and saying, oh my God, he cold plunged for 19 and a half minutes. Are you with me? One of the tools to fight the Yetzer Hara is not now. And Yaakov Avinu, in teaching us the first 3 approaches, would wind up teaching Am Yisrael forever and ever this very powerful concept as well of being able to push off an avon, even if you can't. Even if you can't say no. Even if you can't say no, can you say no now? My friends, I want to end with this. And I know that this is a hard idea to really swallow, because in the end I did the sin anyway. So what's the point? Like I failed anyway. What was the point? So all that suffering, and then I did the avon. We have a very beautiful teaching. So I'm sure you're doubting whether or not the rabbi is just trying to make you feel better about yourself. We have a teaching in Pirkei Avot. The teaching in Pirkei Avot says, Lefum tzara agro, which means according to the effort is the reward. Classically, how do we understand that? That when you work very, very hard, let's say as an example, it's a breeze for me. I read Hebrew, so I read 1 page of Torah. Amazing, easy. Took me 10 seconds. Now you read 1 page of Torah, you're breaking your teeth, you have to go check each word in the dictionary. It takes you a week to finish one. In Shamayim, do you think that my actions and your actions are the same? We both finished the same page. But what we did, because of our effort, is worlds apart. And your mitzvah is so much bigger than mine. Is that clear? If that's true, in fulfillment of a mitzvah, why don't you think that that's also true when it comes to an avera, to a sin? It's not only about whether you did it or you didn't do it. Like we saw by the mitzvah. It's also how much effort did you put in. If I put in 75% effort, but I got caught out in the last 25%, that's amazing. They say an unbelievable example of this with the I'm actually trying to remember who it was, with a fast day. You know, he came to the stipe once was fasting for on one of the ta'aniyot, and they came to him and they told him, listen, you know, you're an old man, you're very weak, you're not allowed to fast. And he said, you're right, I'm only going to fast, an hour or two, max. What happened? He fasted an hour or two, felt perfectly fine. Fasted another 2 hours, felt perfectly fine. Felt another 2 hours, perfectly fine. Then it was over. Sometimes, all a person needs to do is say to himself, I just need to deal with this right now. And in order to push off the Yetzer Hara, you tell him you're coming, but you're not coming right now. You're coming just now. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hananya ben Akasham Yatzah.